I do this. All right, look at that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the June 20th, 2023 Township Council meeting. Call to order. This is the call to order. We'll have a pledge of allegiance followed by a moment of silence as we remember our first responders who protect us every day and our the men and women who protect our country. Let's also remember the victims, the families, and all those affected in the flooding last weekend. Let's keep them in our minds. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Vice President Murphy,
Present.
Mr. Antonello,
Here.
Mr. Blaylock,
Here.
Ms. Dunlap,
Here.
Mr. Glassen,
Here.
Mrs. Wagner.
Present.
Monthly reports are available for review in the Township Manager's office. Public comments will be taken on land development and official action items. General comments will be taken during opportunity for residents to address council. Scott, do I refer to you now?
Yes, prior to tonight's meeting, the Bristol Township Council met in executive session where matters of litigation and township property were discussed.
All righty, thank you.
Welcome. Oh, I should say also personnel issues. Did forget one.
Yes, thank you. So next on the agenda is presentations, and first up is a commendation to Metaphase Lighting Technologies in honor of their 30th anniversary. I believe we have Jeff, Kevin, and Rachel here? You? Oh. Okay. You want to come on up and...
I just want to take a second to...
There's a little button on the microphone to make the light green.
There we go.
You go.
I wanted to take a second to thank the Bristol Township for acknowledging this milestone for us. My dad would be really proud, and it's an honor to be here. I hope I will be here for the 50th anniversary.
All right. We hope you will be too. Well, we do have a commendation. I'll read that for you, and you can we'll present that to you. It's a resolution of commendation of the Township Council of Bristol, Bucks County, honoring Metaphase Lighting Technologies on their 30th anniversary. Whereas Metaphase Technologies is based out of the Bristol Township Keystone Industrial Complex, serving the businesses of Bristol Township, surrounding communities, and worldwide. And whereas Metaphase Technologies was founded 30 years ago by Oliver Zetto, and to this day remains family-owned and operated by the Zetto family. And whereas Oliver Zetto was passionate about his customers and employees and passed along an entrepreneurial spirit that still permeates throughout the entire Metaphase company today. And whereas Metaphase Technologies pioneered many advancements of LED technology that are present in so many technologies of today and is currently a world leader for manufacturing machine vision LED lighting. And whereas Metaphase Technologies' award-winning innovation has been recognized by the White House, peers in the industry, and local business associations. And whereas Metaphase Technologies was incorporated on June 25th, 1993, accomplishing 30 years of business in Bristol Township. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Bristol Township Council that Metaphase Lighting Technologies is celebrated for their 30 years of business and honored for their loyalty in Bristol Township. Great.
The manager has ordered us down. I was gonna stay, but there you go.
Well, we're going to take a picture of all of us.
Everybody, come on.
Right,
You're front and center.
we'll ask you to back up to the podium here. Perfect.
Are you with the company?
We're sort of politicians, so it's like expected.
This helps.
Nice celebrating businesses that have been here for a significant period of time. All right, next up on presentations is East Coast Greenway Status Update, Pennsylvania Environmental Council and Heritage Conservancy. Who do we have?
Hello. Is it already on?
It sounds like it.
Okay, good. I'm Daniel Pascal. I'm the Mid-Atlantic Manager for the East Coast Greenway Alliance. Also here joined by some colleagues. I'd like to have them introduce themselves. I don't know if you need them to come up to the mic or if it's okay here.
Okay. Hi, everyone. How's it going? Zhenya, or Z, with the Pennsylvania Environmental Council. I know my boss, Patrick Starr, has worked with some people in this room for years and years on this very project. We're one of the sponsors of this project, along with Heritage Conservancy. We helped secure a grant from Delaware.
Yeah.
There we go. From the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission to make this possible. And so we've been working with Heritage, Randy, and the township and East Coast Greenway on this for a couple of years now. Thanks.
Chris Kern, Heritage Conservancy. That's all.
Matt Babbitt, Heritage Conservancy.
Great. Yeah, and Chris will be helping me with the presentation, so I'll take the first part. But yeah, we are here to talk about a trail project called the River Road Trail. Hopefully folks are familiar with this. This has been a number of years now, but we are really grateful for the support from the township, from Randy, township manager, and others along the way. Trails, if anyone's familiar with the process, it's a painstaking process. It takes a long time. These things don't exist, and so we have to figure out ways that we can work together, and that figuring out the best right-of-way space, but really access and use in ways that they become part of the community, that residents see themselves using it and making it a part of their home, so that it's not, something that's just in space, but really another wonderful asset to be a part of the township. So getting into it, the Greenway is what brings me here. So I work for a nonprofit called the East Coast Greenway Alliance. We are working on a 3,000-mile long trail connecting place to place, people in towns and suburbs and cities down the East Coast. So similar to the Appalachian Trail, it connects many states, 15 and the District of Columbia. Right now, this project is about 35% done. So it's been decades actually in the making. In the last 10 years or so, it's really accelerated. And you can see in the Mid-Atlantic, there's a map showing a number of trails that are sort of the signature trails of these areas. So, we are very cognizant that every trail is local at its heart. And that's why all of those are labeled. And so the Delaware Canal State Park, that's one of the longest trails in this region that we follow. So our route connects local trails like the DNL along the Delaware Canal, eventually through Bristol Township into Bensalem, all the way towards the Delaware River Trail in Philadelphia, which is also growing piece by piece. So I have more materials, more info online. We don't need to go into the weeds here, but it's also part of metro area networks. So as it connects town and town to city and city, each of these cities and metro areas has networks of trails, some of which exist, like the Delaware Canal State Park and the DNL Trail, like the Schuylkill River Trail, like the Delaware and Raritan Towpath, the historic canal in New Jersey. These are all part of what's called the Circuit Trails. That's a 800-plus mile network in development. Already, 378 miles of those are complete. Not too far from us, we have a number of trails that once we're connected along this River Road Trail, trails through Bensalem, trails up the Neshaminy Creek, people will be able to leave Bristol Township without having to use their vehicle. Or if they don't have a vehicle, they'll have options to walk, to bike, to jog, safe from traffic, to be out with family, to be out with friends, to see all the historic destinations, experience the different cultures in all parts of this part of the township and the county and the region. And so nearby, just to give you a glimpse of some of the connections that will be made that are not very far away, the Delaware Canal, of course, is probably the most well-known nearby here. It's only a 15-minute bike ride And that's, right now, you have to bike with traffic, and that's something that only a select few are maybe courageous enough or maybe dumb enough to do, to really, access those spaces. Most people are getting there by car, maybe by transit, but even that's difficult. So having a trail that's only a 15-minute walk away, that could be something that's very accessible for many people to do. Only 2.5 miles from Croydon Woods is that park. And then the other ones I mentioned, so the Pennypack Trail, that's over 15 miles of trail in Northeast Philadelphia that actually goes out into the suburbs. That would be only a 40-minute bike ride, so less than an hour, not too far away. You could connect to that. And then also the Delaware River Trail, the K&T is actually expanding. There's a 0.7-mile piece of that that's opening up the beginning of August this year. So that's already growing in size, and that has beautiful vistas of the Delaware River. So you can just really get to have a better sense of what the region looks like on the ground. It's very difficult to experience and enjoy these from a vehicle, going 60 miles per hour, or you're stuck in traffic and you're frustrated and you're waiting to get to the places. This is a way to experience it the whole way there. And so closer in, you can see where River Road fits into the circuit trails and the East Coast Greenway, which follows the Delaware River. River Road would connect Croydon Woods all the way from basically starting by the marina and Cedar Ave, a trail separate from traffic to go along River Road and link into Keystone Elementary, the ball fields, Croydon Woods, and then eventually go to the Bristol Marsh Preserve, and that's outside of the scope of this project, but I will hand it over to Chris to talk a little bit more about where we're at in the process and where we still have to go.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, as Daniel was saying, we're taking a small bite-sized piece of this and doing our study starting at Cedar Ave and looking to the intersection with 413 and how to make that possible. And I think the biggest thing I want to impress upon the council and members of township here tonight, this is a process. We had done some planning initially and thought that River Road, the south portion of River Road, looked like it made logical sense to put a trail there, and that's where we started to look at this feasibility study. So as we've gone through, peeled away some layers, we've already hit some good news and bad news along the way. We've hired Michael Baker, who's an engineer, to help us with that. They've been doing research on property owners and the right-of-way, the legal right-of-way width of River Road, trying to determine if there's enough existing roadway to get us what we need. We had some early conversations with Dow Chemical. Our hope was that we might be able to acquire a trail easement on their property, and for safety reasons, that looks as though it might be a little bit more challenging, if not impossible, than what we originally thought. But it also helps us take another step back, kind of shake things up and look at our alternatives. If you want to go to the next slide. I do want to emphasize, again, as Daniel mentioned, we're taking into consideration the amenities to make this a really attractive feature for the community and users of the trail. So this is just an example that we're showing here. Croydon Woods, which Heritage Conservancy owns and operates as a public nature preserve, right next to Keystone Elementary. So as part of the trail work, we just have like a proposed illustration of it here. We'd be looking at making safe connections to these nearby community amenities. And if you want to go to the next, we've also been trying to do community outreach along the way. To date, we've done a community survey. By far and large, we had 86% of respondents supporting the idea of the trail. We've participated in a lot of events like Bristol Township Fall Fest, events that Heritage Conservancy has at Croydon Woods, just engaging with the public. But again, the majority has been very positive. People seem, very interested in a trail coming to the community. We're not working in isolation. We've been partnering with the township as it completes its comprehensive park, recs, open space, greenways, and trails plan. So this is the proposed greenway plan, and if you give it another click, you'll see this is our area along River Road, and then a close-up. Again, we're talking about Croydon Woods here and Keystone Elementary. Yep, so just want to give it the context of the plan, so that's fine. But as I was saying, the feasibility study, when we do hit a barrier one place, it forces us to look another. So if you wouldn't mind giving it just another click. Currently, again, working with our consultant, Michael Baker Engineers, we're exploring the idea of utilizing the Pico utility corridor that runs through Heritage Conservancy's Croydon Woods, as well as the township's open space that it had preserved probably nearly 20 years ago. So Pico does have an official application process where they will do analysis and consider the suitability of a trail underneath or co-aligning with the utility corridor. We expect to hear back from them perhaps at the end of August, early September, mid-September, if I got my math right. I think it's somewhere around there, early fall. There are some wetlands in this area as well that we want to be sensitive to and avoid if possible. So it got us looking at some low traffic side streets. We have a project planned at Croydon Woods to enhance an entrance off of Stella Ave. So we've been thinking about maybe coming up here and looking at the feasibility of then joining to Filbert Avenue and making a connection to the township's open space up here. So we are really vetting a wide variety of options that make the most sense. So near future next steps, we're going to continue doing as much public outreach as we can, piggybacking on already scheduled community events to get a wide public audience. We're also planning a specific public meeting for this purpose of getting people's input on the trails. Again, as I mentioned, we hope to get a determination from PICO whether or not we'll be able to utilize that right-of-way corridor. I hesitated and then ultimately did not put in final route selection. So we will have a selected route at the end of our feasibility study within a few months. And once we feel more confident about what the most feasible route is, we'll begin contacting the landowners along that route if needed, just to let them know that this would be a trail coming through, and if needed, possibility for acquiring trail easements. Next slide, thank you. We do have some information on your website, which is very helpful. We also have a dedicated phone line and email for folks that can call us, send us any kind of communication via email, stay in touch with questions if they have any. We're happy to stay in touch. And we've got lots more information if you want to do a deep dive, but our hope is that we'll be back sooner rather than later with the conclusions from the feasibility study. And hopefully, it won't take 30 years for us.
That would be cool. How long is that River Road Trail?
Oh, good question. Yeah, it's about 2 miles.
Okay.
From Cedar Ave to the 413 intersection.
And ultimately, all these little open trails will connect to the
That
3,000 total.
You got it.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks. We'll be back.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
All right. So next on the agenda is the consent agenda. I will run through them. It's consider approval of voucher list and requisitions dated July 20th, 2023 in the amount of $3,642,692.65. Consider approval of June 15th, 2023 council meeting minutes. Consider resolution for reserved handicap parking area for 801 Hillary Avenue, Croydon. Consider resolution for reserved handicap parking area for 2410 Fleetwing Drive, Levittown. Consider resolution for reserved handicap parking area for 5728 Mitchell Road in Levittown. Consider revised resolution for an official sewage facilities planning module for Pennsylvania Ave subdivision, Croydon. Consider revised resolution for an official sewage facilities planning module for 2800 Newportville Road in Levittown. And consider resolution for an official sewage facilities planning module for Prospect Avenue subdivision, Croydon. That's a tongue twister.
I'll make that motion.
All right, motion by Marion Wagner,
Second.
by Mr. Antonello. On the motion, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
I have a question. On your agenda for, the $3 million, why are we paying $100 to an animal?
Yeah,
James Edward Petchel. In your requisitions for this $3 million and stuff for your monthly bills, why are we paying $100 to an animal institute when we have a animal control officer that's employed here at Bristol Township?
That's a certification that he received.
It didn't say, it just says animal institute.
okay. Well, and answered, yeah. Thank you. So next up is the report from Township Manager, Ms. Elton.
Thank you, Vice President Murphy. So we have a couple updates. The first update is I've been giving everybody, we have updates on our website, but it's on the Randall Avenue Bridge. We've been successful in having PennDOT revise our traffic signal permit, so Radcliffe will stay green the entire time. Will only be the signal will only be switched to red with a pedestrian button if they want to cross over Radcliffe or the one driveway that's on Radcliffe. We don't have quite as good news and expeditious workings for the inspection of the concrete for the bridge. That has been failed a couple of times to get out there with the high rail truck, as well as weather has pushed us off from Amtrak. So now we are not aware of when we'll be able to get out there. It'll be a couple months because there's only one, we can only find one specialty truck that meets all of Amtrak's requirements. But we are anxiously working on a multimodal grant to see if we can put in some money to possibly fix underneath the bridge with the concrete. We already have one for the abutments, and see if there's any hope to get this bridge opened. It's not, or we're still gonna, we didn't get the RAISE grant that we applied for the $25 million to replace the bridge, or even the $9 million because we tiered it to demolish the bridge. So we're anxiously and looking at all avenues and trying to figure it out. We have a survey out to the township residents for a 5-year financial reporting. We received a grant from DCED to have a company come in, Keystone Municipal Solutions, and review and assist with the 5-year financial report. And they've been speaking with all the department heads. They'll be speaking to council soon, and they put together a survey for our residents that's on our Facebook page and on our website. If everybody could take that takes about 5 minutes, would be very much appreciated. I guess the last thing that we want to end on a good note, which I was asked before. We have a couple of concerts coming up. We have tonight, Bristol Riverside Theater is here with their Roots and Boots concert. Next week, Friday, July 28th, we have the Frontier, the world's #1 tribute to Journey. That's from 7 to 9:30. Resident tickets are $11 and non-resident are $25. And then Saturday, August 12th, we have another concert from Shada Southern from 7 p.m. to 9:30. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Report from Township Solicitor. Mr.
Good evening,
Hobart.
all. We have no report for you this evening, so.
All's quiet. Great. Thank you. So new business, consortium fuel bid, consideration to take appropriate action. You want to fill us in on that one?
Sure. And I do apologize. I actually did have something else in the report. So when we're submitting this multimodal grant, we do need a resolution. So I was, for an emergency sake, to amend the agenda, I would, because the grant is due by July 31st. I would ask for just a motion to approve a resolution to submit the grant.
All right, motion by Marion Wagner.
second it.
Seconded by Joe Glasson. On the motion, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So,
And I know that you are dealing with all our partners, Santa Cero, Fitzpatrick, Tina Davis.
they've all been
Case-
wonderful.
yeah, we
Right.
are
They've all been wonderful. They are pushing. They are pushing for some assistance in all ways. Kurt has spoken to Fitzpatrick's office several times. Tina Davis' office and Santa Sarah's office calls me almost every day or emails me with updates. They're trying to get us in front of get this information in front of Senator Casey so that just to keep moving this forward and trying to find some funding.
Okay, thank you.
So the fuel bid, the consortium fuel bid, we recommend it would be to Riggins for the low sulfur diesel and the unleaded regular gas, and Wilson Oil and Propane be awarded the number 2 heating for the Bristol Township sewer.
Motion by Marion Wagner,
I'll second it.
second by Joe Glasson. On the motion, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And I think next, from you, Randy, again, is Murray Lowe Drive Building and Site Renovations Bid, consideration to take appropriate action.
So this started off a while ago where there was a group that was in the building and primarily the users of the building renting it out, not what the neighbors or the township wanted for the property. So the township is now taking the building over. We're going to have a rec center, a resource center for the neighborhood, kind of like what it was about 30 years ago with Freedom Neighborhood 1, and I think it was KBSI that was there. So we put the project out to bid for building renovation and for site work, and 3 bids came in. 1 has already been through our responsible contractor ordinance, 2 have not. So tonight we are able to recommend for bid the plumbing contract through Hirschberg for in the amount of $79,750. And then the other 2 have received intent to bid or an intent to award for the bid. They just have to go with our responsible contract ordinance. We have to wait 30 days for review and see if there's any questions. So that would be back at the August meeting for those 2. So right now, we just have Hirschberg for the plumbing contract.
Okay.
Motion is in order.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Pat Antonello. So you second it? Seconded by Marcia Dunlap. On the motion, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Good. Thank you. So deed of dedication for Phyllis Drive, Anthony Circle, and a portion of River Road. Consideration to take appropriate action. Ms. Helton again?
I'll be taking this one, yeah.
Alrighty.
I think we're a little familiar with this project. This was a land development that's been ongoing since, I think it was one of the first meetings I had when I started with you guys back in 2019. Last month, we did the pump station, which was dedicated. Here, the roadway improvements on Anthony Circle and Phyllis Drive have also been completed. These were parts of that land development, and it's ready for us to accept dedication. And we'll sign the deed, they'll turn it over, and we'll have 2 new lovely public streets.
Fantastic.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Joe Glasson,
I'll second it.
second by Ray Blaylock. On the motion, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. And lastly, consider resolution for disposing of surplus property, consideration to take appropriate action. I believe this is you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
This is, we have a deal, I guess, an offer for a truck that we haven't used since 2010. It's a Mercedes-Benz van, and it would be, through our solicitor's office has found the law that we can also trade off that truck for work to be done, and we'll have sewer lining done by Mr. Rehab on a certain portion.
Fantastic. Motion by Marion Wagner,
Second.
second by Mr. Antonello. On the motion, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
We.
Next up, other business. Do we have any other business? All right, comments from council members? Ah, lovely.
Happy summer.
Yes. Opportunity for residents to address council. We have on our list Mr. Tom Michelesi. You're up, Tom. Welcome.
So, my
Tom,
name-
state your name and your address.
Yeah, it's Tom Michelizzi, 406 Penn Street in
Thank you.
Croydon.
Thank you.
So, I feel like I'm testifying in front of Congress over here, so. As you can see from my lack of support, I was supposed to come in with 20 people, from from Penn Street and Spencer and Garfield, and everybody was really excited about coming, and I got pushed to the center, and here
Well,
I
that's
am.
because there's a big concert going on over
Yeah,
there.
well,
And they all got lost and went over there.
Yeah, no, according to my texts, they sent me in alone to face Congress. But, so, to give everybody a brief, description of why I'm here, and I'm supposed to be representing not only myself, but some other residents on the other streets in our neighborhood. But, in July of 2021, we had the flood, and.
Tom, I don't mean to be rude.
Yes.
5 minutes, but we are all aware, unless.
Yes, no. No, I figured through my emails and everything else and some of the hell I raised. But it's good to see faces, and when I'm emailing, let's do this and let's do that. But there's human beings behind it, and I get it. So anyway, I guess my wife and I, she abandoned me also. But we kind of wanted to know what we were going to do going forward. And Randy was nice enough to send me this, detailed email, and it was very good, and I appreciate that. Thank you. But there are some things that are very glaring in my view, my narrow view, and it's the water that flows from Route 13 right down to our house, and there is no other paths for the water to go other than to pile up in front of the house. And, so in looking at that, I'm like, there's got to be a way to divert some of that water. There has to be something that we could do or the township can do to help that, because the drains are not working properly, and not to beat a dead horse, but, we know that their work has to be done. In the meantime, even if the work was completed, having that flow of water come straight down, you could actually take a surfboard and surf from the car wash down to my house on a heavy rain, because there's nothing else diverting. It just flows straight down, and it pools there, and then it pools up. Even that rain we had just a week or so ago, pooled up to my driveway, so I ran out and bought sandbags, and that wasn't a real heavy rain. And the water sits in those drains for a week. They're not being pushed out, or I don't know if it's a pump or gravity, but that water sits there for a week inside those drains. So, again, in looking at it, I'm not an engineer, but something's wrong. And, we wanted to just, see, I'm here just to say, help, we need some help, and, really, that's it.
That, yeah, go ahead, then, and you take.
So-
Thanks for being the only one.
Yeah, way to show up. Way to show up.
It's funny though, Charlie said, not everybody in the council is aware. I'm like, well, I've only been a resident for 4 years, and I'm like, and now I know why you guys really don't know the extent of it, because nobody shows up. So, I don't know what's happened in the past, but it's
No,
kind
no,
of
we're,
tongue in cheek.
we're kept up to date.
Yes, we really
Yeah,
are.
no, Randy does keep us up to date on everything, and Charlie.
Yeah.
I mean, Charlie fills in Randy, Randy shares everything with us, all your emails, oops.
Yep.
Tearing the place apart. We,
Yeah, no, I
we
get it.
do,
I get
yeah,
it.
we
I
are up to
understand.
date, but thank you for showing
Oh, you're
up and
welcome.
and expressing your.
And then
con-
tonight, I gave council an update, and they knew that you'd be coming because they were
Yeah.
copied on the email.
Yeah, thank you.
But we found out now that which Charlie's been making you aware of, we've cleaned, Mr. Rehab, the contractor that we're using, has cleaned, and we thought that they cleaned the two 38-inch pipes but they go down from Penn, and then they go to Spencer, and then they go down Spencer, and they come under Croydon Acres Park, and that's what goes under Route 13 and goes to the railroad. So we found out that the two 38-inch pipes, then they come down to the park, and then they turn into two 60-inch pipes. And then they cross under the Route 13, and then they go onto Amtrak's property, where the Amtrak has all these different inlets that are covered, by the way, in grass and can't really get any water in them. That all comes down to a vault, which then on the other side is a 72-inch pipe. Televising, we found there's one 60-inch pipe that is completely full. 100% full. There's daylight showing about this much of the pipe. So that's good news.
Yes.
It's very good news because, as you say,
That would be good news.
right. So as you say, the water just sits there. It's because it's backing up and it's just got nowhere to go. The issue is how do we get to that property? Because again, it's on Amtrak. And if you've heard any of the woes that we've been having with Randall Avenue Bridge and working with Amtrak, it's a little bit harder than just getting onto the property. So we're working that out.
Okay.
But good news is if this is the fix, great. And then Charlie has talked about if that doesn't fix the issues, that there's inlets that could be placed at your driveway area, on the roadway. That could, it would basically take that water rather than going down your driveway and then pipe it into the 238s.
Yeah,
But I mean, still,
that's-
those 38s need to work down to the 52s and the 60s.
I think that would really, really make a big difference. The water pools, it's the corner of Lincoln and Penn Street. Like that resident who was supposed to be here, they can't even get to the mailbox days after a rain. So, I think a drain there would really help, but anything would help.
But it's only going to help if downstream
Yeah,
it's clear.
That's fixed,
Right.
correct.
The
Yep.
only possible place to tie the drain in, it has to ultimately go
Go
through
there.
that vault.
Right.
So until that's clear, and then we can evaluate, once that's clear, what's the next step?
Yep, correct. Okay, all
right,
right. Well,
thanks
thank
for
you very
coming.
much. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Nice to meet you.
And with that, no one else, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion. Oh,
I don't know how to get anything on your agenda to speak to you guys.
Okay, well, you have to come up here, though, but there's a sign-in sheet that is left there. Yeah, before the meeting
So
starts.
6:30? Oh, I always show up because it always says that for the public it's 7 o'clock.
so anytime before 7, you can sign in the sheet.
Okay. Name's Edward Petrol, 43 Deep Green, Levittown. Problem I keep having with is, Randy knows, this has been an ongoing problem with animal control and people not picking up their dog waste. Now, in the last month, because of inaction of your animal control officer, and because also in the lieu of the animal control officer, it says your police officers can act as the animal control officer. That's right in your ordinance. I've incurred over $1,000 worth of vet bills because of my dog stepping in other dogs' feces and having bacterial infection in its paws. So my question is, in your regulation, and even in state law, it says if damage...
Is that green button on, Ed? I'm sorry.
And in your ordinance and even in state law, it says if damage is done to livestock, other dogs being attacked by another dog, but that's not what the case. The case here is it's being caused by animal feces. So it says that the responsible party comes back to the township to pay these bills. So my question is, are you gonna pay my vet bills? Because of the inaction of Mr. O'Brien, I mean, he does 8.
Wait, hold on,
minute.
let's back up a second.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, back up
I
one
think I'm on the
second.
same page.
I'd like to know what our animal control officer failed to do. First, let's just start there.
Well, first thing would be, every day, you can walk down Haynes Road and see fresh piles of dog poop, any time of the day. The other thing is, I see it every day when I walk my dog. The leash law states, and it's even in your ordinance, I see people with 25-foot leashes. There's no way they're controlling their dog, so their dog's pooping way behind them, off over the side. I watch the cops drive right past them.
So if I understand you correctly, you would like our animal control officer to manage
Not manage.
manage pet owners' feces? Because the gist of what you're getting at is, our one animal control officer who has to respond to serious issues, injuries, dogs fighting, wildlife dead on the road, there's an innumerable amount of work for our one animal control officer. But if I'm hearing you right, he's not doing his job because he's not policing dog crap from pet owners. Do I have this
Well,
right?
Not policing, but it's part of his job to enforce the ordinance. It's an ordinance in the township. I'm not saying.
Wait. I get that. We have one animal control officer.
Right.
Who has a multitude of issues to deal with, and you're in effect saying that the leash law ordinance, like, your leash is too long, I'm citing you, or you're not picking up your poop. Now, we all know that, and I can tell you from experience, being a pet owner myself, nothing enrages me, myself, or my wife more than having dogs crap on our yard and somebody not picking it up. I don't care if you're walking your dog and your dog craps on my yard. We just appreciate it if you pick it up. You know, we don't mind. We have a whole yard. If your dog has to crap. Just pick it up. Now, lately, it happens there are people who are not community-minded, and they allow their pets to crap. And guess who has to pick it up then? Me. When it's on my yard or my sidewalk, we pick it up. Are we annoyed? We certainly are. But I don't go on social media and make a stink about it.
I'm not on social
Pun
media.
intended. I don't show up at my council meeting and ask council to take the one animal control officer we have who deals with a lot of serious issues and have him enforce the dog poop laws.
Well, then how do I end up finding, because it's right here in your thing. It says his job is to enforce the provisions of the chapter, included the definition of animal control officer and code enforcement.
What would you have me do, Ed?
That would be
Ed,
code
what would you have me do? Would you have me?
I just want
Would
him
you
to-
have me fire him and advertise for a guy who could do the job better? Is that what you're saying?
I would just like him to patrol a little bit more. I mean.
He's out every day.
How many times I can tell you what, I can count on my hand how many times he comes through my neighborhood.
Do you know how big our township is, Ed?
16 square miles according to Wikipedia.
Thank you very much.
And
Now,
if he
you got one guy.
if he drives the speed limit at 25 miles an hour and does 2 hours worth of patrolling.
Ed, have
that's
you
50
factored in any of the other
There's
work that he does?
120
When he has
miles
to
in our
pull over, when he
township,
has to
right?
stop, when he has to do
100
reports. None of that, you know. Ed,
180
come on,
miles.
man.
Our
Come on,
township is
buddy.
180 miles of roads. 180 miles.
Spoken to anyone else beside us?
This
Have
problem
you
has
spoken
been.
to him about this before? Have you spoken?
We have spoken about it before, and basically it's an ongoing problem back and forth between myself, him, council, other members in the neighborhood, and things like that are getting annoyed. Randy knows because I keep bugging her for signs to put up, so to
All right,
remind
Ed,
people.
thank you. Thank you. We're here, but the time is up, so we'll stay here afterwards if you want to keep chatting about it. If there's no one else, Entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Everybody, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Have a lovely evening. Good night.